Hey guys, welcome to my very first ever YouTube video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a new join I've been developing called the row by row join as you go, or I've been nicknaming it the boomerang join in my mind. So I've already worked part of this join because it's the simple part, and so I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I've already done. Place your first 2 DC. I did a you could do like a chain 3 as your first DC, but I like to do a SC chain, and that's what I use as my fake first stitch. So then I worked another DC in the same stitch for the corner. So 2 DC in the corner, then work across your row, double crochet. When you get to the next corner stitch, you're going to go ahead and place 2 DC again. Okay, and then chain 3. So now you've got like a bunting thing going on. Then working across your next square, you're going to repeat. You have your 2 DC in your corner stitch, working all the way across in double crochet, and then in the corner stitch, work your 2 DC, chain 3. And the reason why you're chaining 3 here is because it's kind of like a turning to work across to the next row. Whenever you work for your blanket, you're going to go across the tops of all the squares in the row. And so since I'm just doing the demonstration with 4 squares, this is the end for me, but your end will be, 6, 7, however many squares are in your row. When you get to the end of the row, chain 3. And chain 3 between all of the squares up along the row. So now I'm going to flip everything around because we're going to boomerang back the other way. After you do that chain 3 to turn, you're going to make your 2 DC in the corner. Just like before. And then work 1 more DC. Okay, so now you're going to PLT. So this maneuver is going to join your squares together. So I've got my first 3 stitches on the row I've already completed, and my first 3 stitches on the square that I'm working on. So I'm going to release the loop from the hook, insert the hook into the 3rd stitch because that's the matching stitch, grab my loop, and pull it through to the front of the work. Now with this stitch, with this loop, the 2 motifs are joined together. So now I'm going to go ahead and make another DC, my next DC in the row. Release my loop, insert my hook in the next DC on the completed row, and then pull my stitch through. So I'm going to work down the row, doing the same thing in all the stitches. My last stitch I've worked is joined. I'm going to go ahead and work a DC, and then 2 DC in the corner. And I didn't do the PLT maneuver because just like on the right hand side, I want these stitches not to be joined. So here's my last 3 stitches on the row that's complete, and the last 3 stitches on the row in progress, unjoined. And go ahead and work your 3 chains, and then pick up your next square in the row. For me, this is the last square in the row because I'm only working with 4 squares, but for you, you'll work across the tops of all the other squares in the same manner. So I'm going to work my 2 DC for the corner, then my next DC stitch, just like before, unjoined, release the loop. Now, right here, you could get some twisting because of the chains, so just really make sure that it's nothing twisted in here. And then locate your 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3, put your hook through, grab the loop, and pull it through to the front of the work. Then work across just like before, and I'm going to go ahead and pull back a little bit so you guys can see what's going on here. I'm at the end. So what you'll do when you get to the end is this. You'll chain 3, just like we've been doing. But then you're going to release this loop, find your very first stitch, which for me, it's this top of this beginning DC right here. So for you, it might be the top of your turning chain, however you make that first DC, or if you do a standing DC, you work into that. Go ahead and insert your hook front to back through that stitch. Grab the loop, pull it through. I work a chain to secure it, but then I pull that chain shut and then extend out to have a tail for weaving. I'm going to break this yarn because it's 100% wool and it breaks easily. And so that's the end of the row. So this is, you're going to join all your horizontal rows in this manner. So next up, you'll get your next 2 squares. Well, you're going to get all of your squares, right? Go across and work back same way. So all of your horizontal rows will end up looking like this with these weird, funny little things that we're going to fix in a minute. And now after you're done with all your horizontal rows, you've got all your squares joined for your blanket. The beginning looks like this, a loop, and the end looks like this, a loop with the tail. Then you're going to rotate your squares, all your whole blanket, that's all attached. And then we're going to do all of the vertical. So we're going to chain 1. Then we're going to go ahead and put our hook under these 2 chain spaces. Okay? And then slip stitch. Basically make a chain. Then I'm going to work my final chain of the chain 3. So our first chain is a regular one. Our second chain is a slip stitch around, grabbing both of these chain spaces from our previous join. And then the last chain is a normal chain. That way we've got 3 chains. Okay, then we're going to continue down the row of squares. I'm going to make my 2 DC in the corner. And I'll back up for a second after I do a couple of stitches to show you. 2 DC in the corner. My next stitches, I'll just work a few. Okay, so what we're looking at now is this weird little kind of peace sign. For you, this will be the very last square of your row, and we're ready to turn just like we did when we did our turn over here. So we're just going to turn everything around. We're going to boomerang back. So I'm going to just demonstrate this quickly because it's the same thing we just did for our horizontal joins. 2 DC, our next stitch, so we've got 3. Count 1, 2, 3, insert the hook, grab the loop, pull the loop through. All right, now we've got the same loop going on here as we do over here at the end of our other join. All right, so I'm going to work across and I'll meet you right back. Okay, so now we're back. We have all of this row joined up and we have our 2 DC for the corner, and now we're going to go ahead and make our first chain of the corner. All right, we got our 1 chain. Okay, insert the hook front to back through the top right corner, then front to back through the top left corner, and then bring the hook through to where that loop is. Grab the loop, pull it through. Okay. Now we're going to make our chain and our final chain for the corner. Okay, and then we can make our 2 DC. Then our next DC, none of these stitches are joined. Okay, so 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's what our corner is going to end up looking like. At the end of the row, I did my DC, my 2 DC in the corner stitch, my chain 3, and just like last time, we're going to find our final stitch, insert the hook, grab the loop, pull it through to kind of like make our join. Go ahead and do a chain to secure it, and then break the yarn. And now that we have everything joined up, whenever for you'll have all your squares joined for your entire blanket now, but we're not finished because the outside edge is still a raw edge. So to really complete the join, you have to work a round of DC and then slip stitch right here to grab this loop so that you make it look like you really have just done a join as you go all the way around each square instead of working it row by row to save time and time weaving ends and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and work around the square and slip stitch in this chain. So when I get up to it, I'll show you guys. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've worked across here. I started my corner with a beginning DC, which is an SC chain 1, and then a 3 chain corner. And then I worked across just like normal, 2 DC in the corner, working across DC until I got to my corner where I worked 2 DC. Now I'm going to chain 1, slip stitch in this loop right here, and then chain again to finish that corner, and then I'll just go ahead and keep on working. So that's how I'll deal with the corners as I work my way around. And when I work my next round of the border, this will be hidden, so you won't be able to tell that I did the slip stitch right there. Okay, so now I'm back. I went all the way around the square. You can see there's quite a difference now. Now it just looks like I've joined 4 squares as you go normally. Each corner I put my 2 DC, chain 3, 2 DC, and where it meets the edge of the row, I did my chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1. Okay, so that looks pretty good. My corner looks pretty good. And then I'm at the end right now, ready to join. So I'm going to work my 2 DC in the corner. Oh, well, I already have my first DC there, right? So I'm just going to finish the corner by working 1 DC. All right, now I've got to slip stitch in the first stitch to join the round. So I'll slip stitch, pull up a long loop to make a tail, break the yarn, okay, and then I can weave that tail in. All right, and that is the row by row join as you go, or the boomerang join. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing who uses this join and tags row by row JAYG on Instagram or Facebook, and comment if there's another join that you'd like to see me do for my next tutorial. That way I can keep making these joining tutorials. This was real fun. So anyway, you guys enjoy, and as usual, happy crafting. Bye guys.